still don't know what woke me up that night. No thunder, no wind, no power cuts. Just like something in my house had changed while I was asleep. I remember sitting up in bed at 2:47 a.m., staring at my bedroom ceiling, listening. Nothing. Then I heard it. A sound so faint I almost convinced myself it was my imagination. A soft metallic creak coming from the backyard, from the shed. At first I told myself it was nothing. Maybe the wind, maybe a branch. But then I saw it through the thin gap in my curtains. A light inside the shed, not a flashlight beam, not random flickering. A steady, deliberate glow, like someone was inside, waiting. And then the worst part happened. The shed door moved just slightly, like someone inside had shifted their weight. And in that moment, I realized something that froze my entire body. I was not alone in my backyard. Someone was sleeping in my shed, or worse, they had just woken up. I didn't move. That's the strange thing about fear. People always think they'd run, or scream, or call for help immediately. But in reality, you freeze, because your brain is trying to explain it away. Maybe I left the light on. Maybe I forgot to lock it. Maybe. But then, I saw something that destroyed every excuse I had. A shadow, moving inside the shed window. Not random, not animal-like, human, slow, deliberate. And at that exact moment, my phone lit up. A notification from my backyard motion camera. Motion detected. Shed 2:49 a.m. And beneath it, a preview thumbnail. A blurry image of something sitting inside my shed, looking directly at the camera. This is where things get complicated, because once you know, you can't unknow. And now I had a choice. Stay in bed and pretend this wasn't happening, or go outside, barefoot, at night, toward a shed that clearly had someone inside it. I remember grabbing my phone tighter. My hands were shaking. I opened the camera feed again. The image refreshed, and this time, the figure was gone. The shed looked empty, still, silent. But the door was now fully open. Earlier that evening, everything felt normal. To normal. I came home around 6 p.m., same routine. Dropped my keys on the counter, made tea, checked emails. The shed didn't even cross my mind. That's what makes this worse, because nothing was broken. Nothing was forced open. Nothing suggested what was about to happen. If anything, the backyard looked cleaner than usual, like someone had already been there, before me, watching, waiting. Around 8:30 p.m., I remember hearing something outside, a single thud. I went to the kitchen window, nothing, no movement, no animals, so I ignored it. That's mistake number one, because now I know. That wasn't random. That was the sound of someone settling in. At 10:15 p.m., I checked the shed lock. I swear I did. It was a habit. The lock was old, stiff, sometimes hard to close, but I remember pushing it down, hearing the click. But now I'm not sure, because at 2:50 a.m., that same lock was hanging open, not broken, not forced, just unlocked, like someone had opened it from the inside. I stepped outside. I don't know why. Maybe curiosity, maybe stupidity. But I stepped onto the cold grass and immediately saw them. Footprints leading from the back gate, straight to the shed, and then stopping. Right at the door, no return trail, which meant one thing. Whatever went in hadn't come back out. I stood outside the shed for maybe 20 seconds, maybe longer. Then I heard it. A slow movement inside, like fabric dragging across wood. Then, a breath, not mine, not the wind, a human breath. From inside the shed, and then a voice, so faint I almost didn't hear it. Don't open it. I backed away immediately. My brain screamed at me to call the police. But something stopped me, because I realized, if I called out, if I made noise, they would know I was here, watching, listening. So I stayed silent and dialed anyway. When the operator answered, I explained everything quickly, but there was a pause, too long. Then she said, "Sir, are you certain your shed is locked?" And I said yes. But then she added something I'll never forget. "We had a similar report in your area last week." And she stopped talking, like she wasn't allowed to continue. I looked back at the shed, and now there was movement near the door, closer than before, not deep inside anymore, right at the threshold. Waiting, listening, matching my silence, the shed light turned off, and everything went completely dark. But then, my phone camera feed reconnected, and what I saw was the shed door slowly opening wider. From the inside, behind me, a sound, gravel shifting. I turned, nothing, but I felt it. That presence, close, too close. And when I turned back toward the shed, the door was fully open now, and something was standing in it. I can't describe it clearly, even now. Not because I don't remember, but because my brain refuses to. All I know is, it wasn't rushing. It wasn't hiding. It was just watching me, like it had been waiting for me to notice it. My phone buzzed again. Another camera notification, but this time, it wasn't from the shed. It was from inside my house. I didn't think, I just ran. Back to the house, door slammed. Locked it, heart pounding, but even inside, I knew something terrible. If it was inside before, locking the door didn't matter. The police arrived 12 minutes later. The shed was empty. No one inside. No trace. No fingerprints. Nothing. They told me I probably imagined it. Stress, sleep deprivation, maybe even animals. But when I checked the camera footage later, I saw something they didn't. A figure inside the shed before I ever woke up. Already there, already watching, already waiting. If you want more real stories that based on reality, then subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next part of the story will continue. I thought it was over. That night in the shed, the police, the empty space, the silence that followed, but I made one mistake. I believed it, because 3 nights later, he came back, and this time, he wasn't alone. It started with something small, something I almost ignored. My motion camera pinged at 3:11 a.m. Same shed, same angle, but this time, no movement, no figure, just static, heavy static, like the camera was struggling to see something it wasn't supposed to capture. And then, a shape appeared, not inside the shed, outside it, standing too perfectly still. I zoomed in on the footage, and I noticed something I didn't see before. There were TWO figures, one inside the shed, barely visible, and one outside, standing behind the camera angle, like it knew exactly where I would be watching from, like it was watching me. Watch it. I opened the recording again, but this time, there was audio, a whisper. Right under the static, it said, "You weren't supposed to see him." And then another voice replied, closer, inside the shed. He already did. I went back through all recordings, every night, every time, and then I saw it. It wasn't just 3 nights ago. It had been happening longer. Weeks earlier, before I ever noticed. A figure, returning, always at the same time. Always leaving before morning, but never alone. Sometimes, there were 2. Sometimes, 3. I rewound further, and then I saw something that made my stomach drop. The shed was never empty. Even on nights I thought nothing was happening. Something was already inside, waiting, sleeping, watching. That night, I heard it. Not from the shed. From my hallway, a single knock. Slow, deliberate, from inside the house. I checked the house. All lights off, but I didn't turn them off. And then, one by one, they started turning back on. From the kitchen, then living room, then hallway, like someone was walking through my house, turning it on as they moved closer. I looked outside, even before I reached the window. I knew the shed door was open, and something was standing inside it. But this time, it wasn't looking at me. It was looking behind me. I turned around, slowly, and saw nothing, but I felt it. That pressure, that presence, Then I heard footsteps behind me, inside the house, but I was outside, which meant someone else was already inside. My phone buzzed, a live camera feed from my bedroom, and I saw myself sleeping, but standing beside my bed was someone else, watching me sleep, and it whispered, "He finally sees us now." Everything I thought was happening outside was wrong. The shed wasn't the place they came from. It was where they stayed, but the entry point was inside the house, already open, already used. I realized something horrifying. They weren't random. They weren't chaotic. They were learning me. When I slept, when I moved, when I was gone, like they were building a schedule of my life. Every camera feed died except the shed. And what I saw was all of them, standing together, inside it, waiting. But they weren't looking at the camera. They were looking at something behind it. The feed cut. I ran outside. The shed was empty. No figures, no movement, no trace. And that's when I understood they didn't leave. They relocated. Later, I found one last file, unlabeled, not from my system, but it had my camera ID. I played it and saw myself entering the shed, but I never did. In the footage, I never came out. The shed door closed, slowly, from the inside, and then someone whispered, "Now he's one of us." The truth hit me too late. They weren't breaking in. They were already inside, and the shed was never the problem. It was the warning, because now, every night, when I check the cameras, I see them watching back, and sometimes, I'm not the one looking at the screen. If you've watched this far, thank you. If you enjoy hearing real-life horror events, strange encounters, and mystery situations that actually happen in everyday routines, make sure you subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss the next story. And if you've ever experienced something similar yourself, something strange, creepy, unexplained, or even something that happened in your own home or neighborhood, feel free to share it in the comments. We read them. And your story might be featured in one of our upcoming videos so others can hear it too. Because sometimes, the scariest stories are not the ones we imagine. They're the ones that actually happen.